I'm frozen. The snow isn't just falling, it's sticking, melting into the brown cardboard in my hands. The December wind is a physical slap against my cheeks, but I can't feel it. My eyes are locked on the aggressive red stamps plastered across the front of the package. Recipient refused. Return to sender. My fingers are numb, but I can feel the sharp edges of the box. Inside, I can just see the edge of the gift wrap. 3 solid weeks of my evenings, hours of delicate work, soldering and wiring, a custom handcrafted light fixture, something beautiful I'd designed just for them. It was the first big, meaningful thing I'd made since landing my junior designer gig. My first professional paycheck, all of it, went into that box. I'd shipped it home to Brighton with a stupid, hopeful note. Even love can be returned to sender, I whisper. The wind rips the words from my mouth. The box feels heavier than it did 2 weeks ago. I pull it against my chest, a sudden sharp ache blooming under my ribs. The family roles were always clear. Paige was the delicate one, the angel who needed shielding. I was the strong one. Regal, the one who never needed anything. Mom, who'd quit her job to raise us, and Dad, a retired engineer, enforced those roles daily. I remember Paige's 10th birthday, a backyard carnival, a 3-tiered cake, and handcrafted invitations. My 10th birthday, 3 months later, was a box of store-bought cupcakes and a single drooping streamer. Regal doesn't mind keeping things simple, Mom had told a neighbor. She's always been so independent. I stare at the rejected box. This was me, trying to prove something, trying to send a piece of my heart and show them what I could do, and they hadn't even bothered to open it. The hurt is a familiar cold, but something new is mixing with it, a hot spark of anger. It feels foreign, but it's the only thing keeping me warm. My phone rings, vibrating against my ribs. I flinch, fumbling for it with my frozen hands. Paige, of course. I swipe to answer, the motion automatic. If you're watching this video, tell me where you're from or what time it is for you. Reggie, thank God I caught you. Paige's voice bubbles through the speaker, high and cheerful. I'm in the middle of a Christmas shopping crisis and I need your help. I lean against the brick wall of my apartment building, the damp box still clutched in one arm. What's up, Paige? So Mom and I were at Regency Interiors, the new place downtown, and we found the perfect curtains for the living room. They're these gorgeous silk panels, but Dad is being such a cheapskate about the redecorating. I close my eyes. No mention of the package. Not a word. In the background, I can hear my mother's voice, muffled but distinct. Ask her now. And don't forget the— Oh, Paige cuts in, right on cue. Mom wanted to ask if you could chip in for them, just to help out. You know how much she wants the house to look nice for the holidays. You're so good with money, Regal. I look at the red refused stamp. I look at the cracked pavement of my apartment walkway. I look at my own worn-out boots. The word no is right there. It's a physical thing, a rock in my throat. I can't get it out. Yeah, I hear myself say. Sure, Paige, of course I'll help. You're the best. I knew you'd understand, she squeals. I'll text you the link. Love you. The line clicks dead. I stand there for another full minute, the snow turning my hair white. That's who I am, the one who helps, the one who gives, the one who's always fine, but the box in my arms tells a different story. 2 days later, the smell of burnt coffee and industrial disinfectant fills my nose. My student ID swipes through the cafeteria time clock for the 3rd time today. 7 a.m. shift at the library, 1 p.m. classes, and now the 6 p.m. to midnight dinner service. My manager nods, his eyes as shadowed as mine. Another triple, Regal? I force a smile and tie my apron. Tuition doesn't pay itself. Tell me about it. It doesn't. Not like Paige's tuition, which is apparently self-paying. I visited home last weekend to drop off a textbook. A gleaming new Volkswagen sat in the driveway. Paige's. She'd casually mentioned her new downtown Brighton apartment over dinner, the one Mom and Dad were co-signing for. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I ignore it, hoisting a heavy tray of dirty dishes. I don't check it until my break at 9 p.m. 3 missed calls from Paige. I step out into the freezing Colorado night and dial her back. "Finally," Paige answers on the first ring. "I've been trying you all day. Where have you been?" "Working," I say, leaning against the cold brick. "What's going on?" "Okay, so amazing news. Mom and Dad are taking me to Aspen for the weekend, but my account is like totally empty right now. Could you just send me some spending money? Nothing crazy, just enough so I'm not totally broke." The irony is a bitter taste in my mouth. I just checked my own bank account. After paying for those silk curtains, I was officially in the red. My student loans were gathering interest like dust bunnies under a bed. Paige's life was a debt-free glide, funded by the same parents who told me I needed to learn financial independence. "I get paid Friday," I say, my voice flat. I'm already calculating. If I skip groceries and just eat leftover staff meals... "Oh, you're a lifesaver, Regal. Seriously, the best," she squeals as if I've just handed her a blank check, not the last crumbs of my paycheck. I hang up and look up at the sky. It's just black. No stars. Just cold. Winter turned to spring. I sent smaller gifts home for Christmas. A leather-bound planner for Dad, Mom's favorite perfume, a set of imported markers for Paige. I got a single store-bought card in January, signed "Love from Us and Paige" in my mother's handwriting. The next year, I collapsed. I'd been running a fever for a week, pushing through finals and my 3 jobs. The stabbing pain in my side finally buckled my knees during a library shift. Emergency appendectomy. No insurance. I stared at the hospital bill from my dorm room bed. The number was staggering. I called home, terrified. "Oh, sweetie, that's awful," Mom said. Her voice was full of sympathy, but nothing else. "We wish we could help, but things are just so tight right now." I hung up, the phone feeling slick in my hand. 2 weeks later, my phone chimed with an Instagram notification. Paige grinning, holding up 2 plane tickets. "Europe, here I come. London, Paris, Rome. Thanks, Mom and Dad." The phone slipped from my grasp and hit the floor. The realization was a concrete block settling in my stomach. I wasn't their daughter. I was their resource, a backup plan, a rainy day fund that was supposed to be self-replenishing. And Paige wasn't just clueless. She was a predator. Her timing was too perfect. Her calls for small loans always landed the day after my paychecks cleared. Her voice would shift into that delicate, fragile whisper. "You know I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important, Reggie." The hierarchy was clear. Mom reinforced it. "Family is everything, Regal, and you're the responsible one. We all have our roles. My role was to give. Theirs was to take." Years passed. I graduated. I moved into a tiny apartment and landed a junior designer job at a small firm in Brighton. I was still broke, still paying off that appendectomy bill, but I was building something. Then Paige called. It was a Tuesday evening. Her voice was electric, vibrating with an enthusiasm I'd never heard from her. "Reggie, I found it! The perfect opportunity!" she gushed. "There's a nail salon for sale in that new downtown shopping center. The owners are retiring, and they're willing to sell for half the market value." I was instantly suspicious. "Paige, you don't know anything about running a salon." "But I do. I've been taking classes. And the best part, the equipment is all included. They have a huge client list, and I did a business plan. 6-month projected return on investment. 6 months, Reggie." Her plan sounded solid, shockingly solid. I listened, my suspicion warring with a sudden, stupid flicker of hope. "I'll pay you back with interest within 6 months," she promised, her voice dropping, becoming sincere. "This could be our thing, Reggie, together, sisters in business. You're so smart with design and branding. You could help me." An investment, not a handout. An investment in a business, and maybe, finally, an investment in a real relationship with my sister. "I'm not just giving you the money, Paige," I said, my voice firm. "This has to be professional." "Of course, absolutely," she agreed almost too quickly. I had a lawyer draft up a partnership agreement. It's totally legit. It says you're an investor, a partner. She came over the next day, the document in hand. It looked official. It outlined my $8,000 investment in Paige's Pretty Parlor in exchange for a 20% stake and a guaranteed repayment of the principal within 1 year. I looked at her, searching her face. She was smiling, bright and eager. "This is it, Reggie. This is our start." I drained my savings account. Every penny I'd scraped together over the last 3 years. I signed the paper. She signed the paper. I held my copy, the crisp paper feeling heavy in my hand. It was my proof, my leverage, my advantage. "I'll see you at the grand opening, partner," I said, trying to smile. "You bet," she said, hugging me tightly, the check already in her hand. 6 months passed. No grand opening, no word on the salon's progress, no mention of repayment. When I called, Paige was always too busy to talk. "The salon is just crazy right now, Regal. I'll call you back." She never did. I waited until Thanksgiving. The whole family was there. I cornered Paige by the dessert table. "Hey, so how's the salon? I was hoping we could talk about the repayment plan." Paige's smile froze. "Oh, I really have to take this call." She vanished into the kitchen. Moments later, my mother slid into her vacant seat. She placed her warm, soft hand over mine, her face a mask of practiced sympathy. "Sweetie, about that money." My stomach clenched. "What about it?" "Paige, well, she's just not a business person, you know?" Mom sighed. She tried her best, but the salon failed. "The money's gone, Regina." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What, failed? She never even told me it opened." "She didn't want to disappoint you," Mom said, squeezing my hand. "It's for the best. You're so strong, Regal. You'll bounce back. It's just money. Family is more important." There would be no repayment. There was never going to be. I found Paige in the hallway, texting furiously. "Failed?" I hissed, my voice shaking. "You told me it failed?" Paige wouldn't look at me. "It was too much pressure, okay? It didn't work out." "I don't care. You owe me that money, Paige. We have a contract, a partnership agreement." Paige finally looked up and her eyes were cold. All the sweetness was gone. That stupid piece of paper? "It's a legal document," I said, my voice rising. I fumbled in my purse, pulling out my folded copy. It says you were a partner," she snapped, snatching the document from my hand. "And partners are supposed to invest. You were supposed to put in more money for the new equipment. I asked you and you said no. You asked for another loan, not a capital investment." "Same difference," she spat. "You broke the contract, Reggie, not me." She tore the paper in half, then in quarters. "What are you doing?" I shrieked, grabbing for the pieces. "There," she said, letting the fragments flutter to the floor. "No more partnership, no more advantage. It's gone. Happy Thanksgiving." She turned and walked back to the living room, leaving me standing in the hallway with the shredded remains of my $8,000 and my last ounce of hope. I was a wreck at work on Monday. I sat in the break room, stirring sugar into coffee I'd let go cold, staring at my phone. A new text from Paige had just come in. "Hey, I know you're mad, but could you just spot me $200? Peter and I want to go out." My colleague, Milo, walked in. He was a senior designer, sharp and no nonsense. He looked at me, then at the phone in my hand. "You okay, Travers? You've been staring at that wall for 10 minutes. I just showed him the text. He read it, then looked me square in the eyes. "They treat you like an ATM, Reggie," he said bluntly, "not a sister." His words startled me. They were the same words I'd been thinking, but hearing them from someone else made them real. That weekend, I met my college friend Rhonda for coffee. I explained the salon, the torn-up contract, the constant demands. She listened, her expression growing more concerned. When I finished, she put her hand on my arm. "Reggie, this is beyond just a difficult family. Have you ever considered therapy? Just to talk about boundaries?" Boundaries. The word felt as foreign as the anger I'd felt holding that returned package. 3 days later, I was sitting in a modestly furnished office, facing a therapist named Dr. Matthews. "They just expect me to give and give," I admitted, the words tasting like ash. "And I always do." Dr. Matthews nodded, watching me carefully. "You're the family responsible one. It's a heavy role to carry." "It's crushing me," I whispered. She set down her pen. "What if," she asked, her voice gentle but firm, "the next time they ask, you just said no?" The question hung in the air. No, just no. It sounded like a declaration of war. It sounded terrifying, and it sounded like the only way out. 2 weeks later, Paige called. Her voice was back to its bubbly, cheerful default, as if she hadn't destroyed my finances and our relationship. "Reggie, guess what? I'm reopening the salon. I found a new investor, Peter. We're actually dating. He's amazing. But we just need a little more capital for the new drying stations. We need about $5,000. Since you're already a partner..." My newfound clarity was a trembling, fragile thing. My heart was hammering. My palms were sweating. This was it. "I can't," I said. The silence on the other end of the line was immediate and absolute. "What?" Paige's voice was sharp, all the bubbles gone. "I can't, Paige. I don't have it to give. I already invested. I can't contribute more." Another long, cold silence. Then, "Wow, I always knew you were selfish with your money, Regal. But this is low, even for you." She hung up. The fallout began within hours. First, my mother called. "Regina, I am so disappointed in you. Your sister is trying to build a life for herself, and you won't even help her, after all we've done for you. Mom, she stole $8,000 from me." Family doesn't steal, Regina. We help each other. That money is in the past. You're holding a grudge, and it's tearing this family apart. Then came the flying monkeys. Aunt Louise called. "Regal, honey, your mother is just heartbroken. Paige is her baby. Why are you abandoning your sister like this?" Then Uncle Richard. "Regina, your father is very upset. You're the strong one. You should be setting an example, not acting like this." Each call was a variation on the same theme. I was selfish. I was cold. I was unforgiving. I was destroying the family. I held the boundary. My voice shook every time, but I said the same thing. I've already invested in that business. I can't contribute more right now. The calls eventually stopped. Family gatherings became exercises in polite, icy distance. I was the villain, cast in stone for the simple, terrifying act of self-preservation. The direct attacks stopped, but the public campaign began. Paige's Instagram, which I still followed out of some morbid curiosity, became a minefield. A photo of her and Mom captioned, "So grateful for the family who really shows up for me." A blurry photo of her at a bar. Sometimes the people you'd take a bullet for are the ones pulling the trigger. A candid shot of her staring wistfully out a coffee shop window, just lamenting how some people get so wrapped up in their careers they forget what really matters. So sad. Mutual friends commented with heart emojis. "You're so strong. Thinking of you." I closed the app, my stomach churning. Then my phone rang. Mom. Tuesday, 7:15 p.m., right on schedule. "Hi, Mom." "Regina, your sister showed me what you said about not helping her." "I didn't say I couldn't," I corrected, my temple already throbbing. "I said I wouldn't loan her more money when she hasn't repaid the first $8,000. "Family doesn't keep ledgers, Regina," she snapped, her voice practiced and sharp. "Your sister has a life to build. What do you have? A tiny apartment and a job." The accusations went on. I watched the call timer tick up to 23 minutes. When she finally paused for breath, I heard Dad's voice in the background. "Is that Regal? Let me talk to her." The phone rustled. Regal. His voice was gruff, unused. He never called me. "Your mother's disappointed in you. We all are." The words landed like stones. "I understand," I said. The same hollow response I'd given for years. I hung up and sat motionless at my kitchen table. My laptop was open on the table. An email from 3 days ago sat in my inbox, unread. I'd been too afraid to open it. The subject line: Offer. Senior designer position, Horizon Design Group, Las Vegas. I'd applied on a whim 6 months ago after a particularly brutal call with Mom. I never thought I'd hear back. I clicked it open. Prestigious firm, creative freedom, a massive salary increase, full relocation stipend, a chance to work on high-end hospitality projects, 2,000 miles from Brighton. I typed 2 words and hit send. I accept. The next 3 weeks were a blur of packing. I was surrounded by boxes, sorting my life into keep and leave. I felt lighter with every roll of tape. I hadn't told them yet. I was going to send an email. Dr. Matthews and I had practiced the script. I didn't get the chance. The insistent, angry knocking on my apartment door made me jump. I opened it to find my mother, her face flushed red, her chest heaving. "You're moving to California?" she demanded, pushing past me into the apartment. Las Vegas, California. Same difference to her. It was away. "How could you do this without discussing it with your family first?" I closed the door slowly. "I accepted a job offer, Mom. It's an excellent opportunity." "Opportunity?" She spat the word. "You're abandoning us. You're abandoning your sister. After everything she's been through with that failed business." "The business I paid for," I snapped, the words out before I could stop them. "You will not use that against her," Mom shrieked. "How could you be so selfish?" The script was familiar, but I wasn't. The words didn't sting. They hovered in the air, powerless. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm building my own life. Her phone rang. She answered it immediately when she saw the caller ID. "Paige, yes, I'm with her now." She clicked on the speakerphone. I could hear Paige's voice, thin and reedy. "We needed you here, Regal. Dad's blood pressure is up again. The doctor says it's stress. He's just so worried about this whole rift." The implication was a sledgehammer. My decisions, my fault. My independence was killing my father. I watched my mother's face, the mix of concern and smug satisfaction. She had her weapon. "I need to build my own life," I repeated, my voice cold and steady. Mom's eyes narrowed. "If you walk out that door, Regina, don't expect us to welcome you back. Don't come crawling back when this new life of yours fails." The threat was meant to shatter me, bring me to my knees. Instead, it set me free. "I've never felt welcomed anyway," I said. It wasn't bitter. It was just a fact. I opened the door. "You should go, Mom. I have to finish packing." She left without another word. Milo arrived at 6 a.m. the next morning with a moving truck. "You're really doing this, Travers," he grinned, hoisting a box labeled Kitchen. "I'm really doing this." Rhonda showed up with 2 giant coffees and a box of bagels. "You check the glove compartment when you get in that truck," she ordered, "but not until you're on the highway." 3 hours later, at a gas station just past the Colorado border, I found her care package, a Freedom Sounds playlist, a bag of her homemade cookies, and a card. "Proud of you. Don't look back." The drive to Las Vegas took 2 days. With every mile that clicked past on the odometer, I felt an invisible, crushing weight lifting off my shoulders. The high desert of Nevada looked like a fresh, clean slate. My new apartment in Summerlin was bright and empty, smelling of new paint. For the first time in my life, I breathed. Las Vegas wasn't just a new city, it was a new universe. My colleagues at Horizon Design Group were brilliant, professional, and respectful. My boss valued my ideas. My clients listened to me. I continued my therapy sessions via video, now with a new therapist, Dr. Lang. "We're not just surviving anymore, Regina," she told me. "We're building." I changed my phone number. I sent a single email to my family with the new number, but set up filters that sent any message from them to a folder I only checked once a month. I founded Cresta Design 2 years later. My aesthetic, clean lines, bold textures, and unshakable boundaries, took off. I specialized in clients who appreciated a direct, no-nonsense approach. My bank account grew. I paid off my student loans. I paid off the credit card debt from the appendectomy. I built a fortress, brick by financial brick. 3 years of peace, 3 years of building. My firm was profiled in Artisan Dwelling. The title of the piece was Regina Travers' Warmth with Boundaries. The irony was delicious. Then, the first week of December, the offensive began. It started subtly. A Christmas card from my mother, the first in 3 years. Elegant calligraphy, handmade paper, just holiday wishes, and a photo of Mom, Dad, and Paige smiling. It arrived 2 days after the wedding invitation. Paige and Peter Ramirez, a handwritten note inside. Family should be together for milestone moments. The timing was calculated. It was a strategic pincer movement. My phone chimed. A text from Aunt Sylvia. "Sweetie, don't you think it's time to reconcile? Families shouldn't stay apart this long." Then another from an old family friend in Brighton. "Ran into your mom at the store. She misses you terribly. Maybe for Christmas." It was a coordinated campaign, a gentle, loving, suffocating net. "They've made contact," I told Dr. Lang, my hands steady in my lap. "Multiple approaches, all within days." "And how does that feel?" she asked, her glasses catching the light. "Apprehensive," I admitted. "Not panicked, just waiting for the other shoe to drop." "That's progress, Regina. Your body used to respond with panic attacks. Now you're just observing the strategy." "Their tactics don't work anymore," I realized aloud. "The guilt trips. I see them for what they are." I sent a polite, professional regrets to the wedding invitation and a gift certificate to a home goods store. Then the escalation began. Paige texted me from her honeymoon in Hawaii. "Reggie, oh my God, complete emergency. Peter's wallet was stolen and we can't pay for the rental car. They're going to call the police. Please, I just need $1,000. 3 years ago, I would have wired the money. This time, I typed, "Paige, that's terrible. Submit your receipts to the travel insurance I recommended you get. I'm sure they'll cover it." Her reply was a string of furious, garbled emojis. 2 days later, my phone rang. "Aunt Louise." "Regina." Her voice was frantic. "It's your mother. Her blood pressure spiked dangerously. She's at Brighton General. She's asking for you. Please, honey, just call her." My blood ran cold. This was the big one. I hung up and made a call to a nurse I knew who worked at Brighton General. "Hey," I said, "can you do me a huge, weird favor? Can you check if my mom is a patient? She was admitted for a hypertensive crisis." My friend called back 10 minutes later. "She's here, but Reggie, she's in for routine monitoring. Vitals are stable. Dr. Henderson has her on a standard workup. It's not a crisis. She's complaining about the food." I breathed out, slow and steady. The manipulation was so deep, so disgustingly intricate. I texted Aunt Louise, "I'm so sorry to hear. Please let her know I hope she feels better soon." The reply was simple. "That's all." I didn't answer. The final cannon was Dad. He called my phone directly the first time in 3 years. His gruff, unfamiliar voice filled my kitchen. "Regal, this family is falling apart without you." I stopped chopping vegetables. "Hi, Dad." "Your mother's health is failing. Paige is struggling in her new marriage. You've built this fancy career in the desert, while we've been suffering." The accusation, the guilt, the direct hit. 3 years ago, it would have shattered me. Tonight, it just slid off. "I'm sorry to hear everyone's having such a difficult time, Dad," I said, my voice calm and even. "How are you doing? Personally?" The question threw him. He was prepared for a fight, for apologies, for a defense. He wasn't prepared for interest. I'm fine," he stumbled. "The house is fine." He tried to get back on script, rambling about family obligation and my duty. But the fire was gone. He'd been disarmed by a simple, direct question. He hung up a few minutes later, sounding confused. The campaign was transparent now. Each message was designed to pull me back into the role of family savior, family ATM, family responsible one. The last-ditch effort came from Paige's new husband, Peter. He left a voicemail. "Hey, Regina, Peter Ramirez here. Listen, I've got this incredible investment opportunity, a guaranteed 30% return, and I thought, who better to bring in than family? This could be huge for all of us. Give me a call." I didn't call. I sent an email. Dear Peter, thank you for thinking of me. Please submit any business proposals through the official Cresta Design channels on my website. All investment opportunities undergo a standard due diligence procedure. Regards, Regina Travers. The professional boundary felt like a shield. I wasn't punishing them. I was protecting what I'd built. 5 years. 5 years since I'd left Brighton. Cresta Design was a success. My life was peaceful, stable, and mine. The email arrived in early December, exactly 3 weeks before Christmas. My mother. Subject, Christmas decorating. Dearest Regina, we were thinking of redecorating the house for Christmas this year, and Dad said, who better to ask than our talented designer? Paige says your work is all over those fancy magazines. We really need someone with your eye. It would be so wonderful to have you home. Paige's second baby is coming in February, and you wouldn't want to miss Christmas with both grandkids, would you? Your niece, Eve, asks about her Aunt Reggie sometimes. I set my coffee mug down. The pressure was instant, a familiar ache behind my eyes. The implicit bargain was nauseatingly clear. My professional services, my time, my money, in exchange for a seat at their Christmas table. Access to the niece I'd never met. The full court press began within an hour of the email. Aunt Louise, Regal, honey, it's been too long. Christmas is about family. Don't you think it's time to make peace? Uncle Richard, your mother is heartbroken. We all are. Just come home. Cousins, family, friends, my mother's church group, then Paige's voicemail. Her voice was a masterpiece of manufactured sobs. Eve asks Santa to meet you, Reggie. She prays for it. How do I explain to my daughter that her aunt doesn't want to see her? That her aunt hates us? I deleted the message. The weight of it lingered. Then came the email from Dad. Regina, this punishment has gone on long enough. Your mother misses you. We all do. Whatever grievances you're holding on to, isn't family worth more? I closed my laptop and walked to the window of my Summerlin apartment. The lights of the Las Vegas Strip shimmered in the distance. I had built this life, brick by brick. A life where my worth wasn't measured by my utility to others. My assistant's voice on the intercom broke my thoughts. Regina, I have a new client inquiry I think you should see. It's interesting. She forwarded the email. A new client, Amanda R., requesting urgent design services for a holiday refresh on a Colorado mountain home. The address stopped my heart. It was my parents' house. Send me the contract they signed, I said, my voice quiet. Minutes later, the electronically signed document was on my screen. Client, Paige Ramirez. I scanned the detailed requirements. It was my mother's email, almost word for word. The same rustic, modern aesthetic, the same request for a family heirloom display for Paige's childhood keepsakes. 5 years of therapy gave me a clarity that was cold, hard, and absolute. This wasn't a request, it was a trap, a final, desperate attempt to get me to work for free, under the guise of reconciliation. I was drafting my response when my phone rang, an unknown number, from Brighton. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Hello? A small, trembling voice. Aunt Reggie, this is Eve. My body went rigid. Paige's daughter. The child was 5. I knew this from filtered social media posts. Hello, Eve, I managed, my professional calm shattering. I sank onto my couch, staring at my own undecorated Christmas tree. "Mommy said you don't like us," the little voice whispered. "Is that true? Is that why you never come see us?" The question was a physical blow. They were using a child, a 5-year-old. They had coached her and given her my number. I closed my eyes, caught. How do I answer that? "No, sweetheart," I said softly. "That's not true." "Then why don't you ever come home?" I searched for words she could understand. Sometimes grown-ups need time apart to figure things out. It doesn't mean I don't care about you. "Oh," she said, "I'm learning to draw houses. Mommy says you make beautiful houses for people." "I do," I said, a small, genuine smile touching my lips. "I'd love to see your drawings sometime." "Really?" The hope in her voice was pure, untainted. "Really. And I'm going to send you something special for Christmas Eve. Just for you." After we hung up, I sat in the silence for exactly 1 minute. Then I opened my laptop. My hands were perfectly steady. My response to Amanda R. was brief. "Cresta Design does not take projects from clients using false identities. We are declining this project." Then I opened a new email. I addressed it to my mother, my father, Paige, and Peter. I attached the screenshot of Mom's Christmas email. I attached the Amanda R. Force inquiry. I attached the contract with Paige's signature. My message was simple. My design services are not available to family. Deception is not the foundation for reconciliation. Please respect my professional boundaries as you would any other designer. No accusations, no emotion, just facts. I hit send. For Eve, I went to my bookshelf. I took down a beautiful, intricate kaleidoscope. I wrapped it carefully, addressed it to her, and put no return label on the box. Inside, I tucked a simple note. From someone who hopes you'll always be loved the right way. The responses to my email came instantly. A frantic, screeching voicemail from my mother, a string of texts from Paige. "How dare you embarrass us like this, after everything we've done for you?" I deleted them all. The voicemails unheard, the texts unread. This was my victory, not vengeance, not a screaming match, just a boundary, a fact, a clean, sharp, final line. A week later, a small battered box arrived at my office. No return address, but the postmark was from Brighton. I opened it carefully. Inside, there was no bomb, no glitter, just a cheap ledger book. It was the real accounting book for Paige's Pretty Parlor from 8 years ago. I flipped it open. The first page showed my $8,000 investment. The following pages showed where it went. Peter Ramirez, $3,000. Loan repayment. Paige Travers, $2,500. Personal draw. Regency Interiors, $500. Aspen Trip, $1,000. The entire $8,000 was gone in less than 24 hours. It was never for a salon. It was to pay off her new boyfriend's debts and fund a vacation. Tucked into the book was a small, unsigned note on a bar napkin. "You were right, just so you know." It was from Peter, the man who had tried to get me to invest in another one of their schemes, the person I'd considered just another part of the problem. He was my unexpected ally. He had seen the truth and, in his own way, set me free. I didn't need the proof anymore, but holding it. It was the final quiet click of the lock falling into place. Christmas Eve. My Summerlin apartment was warm, filled with the smell of roasting garlic and pine. The table was set for 8. Milo, Rhonda, my new colleagues, my neighbors, my chosen family. "It looks perfect, Reggie," Milo said, adjusting a centerpiece of eucalyptus. Rhonda placed a dish of tamales on the table. "To a Brighton-free Christmas." We all laughed. My gaze drifted to the mantel. In a simple, elegant shadow box sat the small, unopened package I'd been holding in the snow all those years ago. The handmade lights. What was once a wound was now a piece of art, a reminder. I raised my glass. To finding family in unexpected places. And to boundaries, Rhonda added, clinking her glass against mine. Beautiful, healthy, necessary boundaries. The conversation was easy, real. We talked about projects, about life. Remember when you thought asking for help on that Henderson project meant you were failing? Milo asked, refilling my glass. I smiled. It took me forever to learn that needing support isn't a weakness. And now you're mentoring that new intern from UNLV, my colleague Jenna said. Sophia, I corrected. Her family background isn't so different from mine. Sometimes, just knowing someone else made it through makes all the difference. Hours later, after the last guest had left, I stood alone by my tree. My apartment was quiet, not the lonely, aching silence of my old Brighton apartment. This was a deep, peaceful, earned silence. My phone, which I'd left on the charger, lit up. A text message. It was a photo, a blurry, beautiful, chaotic pattern of colors. A second text came through. Thank you, Aunt Reggie. This is Eve. I smiled. A real, genuine smile. Not a dramatic reunion, not a Hallmark movie reconciliation, just a tiny, authentic opening, a relationship that could, maybe, be built on new, healthy terms. I picked up my journal. I wrote the final entry of the year. This year, I finally have a family, the one I chose. Silence isn't coldness. It's the boundary built by someone who learned her worth. And Christmas doesn't need a crowd. It just needs the right people. If this story resonated with you, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop any comment below, even just one word. Maybe tell me where you're watching from, or what time it is right now. Sometimes one word is enough to say you were here,